Good morning. Good morning, Facebook. How are you guys doing this morning? Trying to wait to see if a few more people join in. Hope everybody's having a great morning. I am. We're making sloppy Joe sliders this morning. I wish I had a cameraman. My cameraman's not here today. There we go. All right, so we're going to wait for a few more minutes, just a couple more minutes for everybody to join in. But we're making sloppy Joe sliders today, which is something that I grew up making or having my mother make for me. And basically, you get to have a little hamburger bun or either just a little slider bun. And we're taking, you can use ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef. Today, we're using ground beef. You know, I like to be healthy. So we're using ground beef today and just a little healthier aspect to the dish. We're going to use ground turkey and then we'll have our little slider buns that we'll go ahead and put our ground turkey onto. So we'll wait a couple more seconds just for a couple of people to join in and then we'll go ahead and get started. So if you are following along, I'll show you everything that you need. Hang on. All right, so the recipe calls for vegetable oil, which all of this should be posted on our Facebook page. Calls for vegetable oil. You need a pound of ground beef or ground chicken. I've just got some lean, 91%, 9% fat ground turkey. And then you'll need some chili powder, which we have here. You need some kosher salt. You'll need some ketchup. We'll also need some light brown sugar, which we have here. We got some apple cider vinegar here. And also we've got, I'd subbed out, we've got some carrots and peas. You can put carrots and peas. The recipe calls for carrots and corn. So it's whatever you like, whatever veggies you like, you can kind of play around with it and add what you'd like to it. I'm putting peas and carrots today, guys. Also, like I said, baby corn if you'd like. We also got our slider buns. And then we got some cabbage that we thinly sliced, kind of julienne. And then if you'd like, also, which is optional, is your pickle chips. So just little dill pickles, or if you like sweet pickles, just the little ones that are cut into a circle, which they call chips. So those are the main ingredients for today. And I also, because I always like to kind of spice things up, I'm going to add an onion. So we're going to add an onion to that just to spice it up a little bit. I like to season my food well. If you choose to put bell peppers, you can do bell peppers. But I'm going to do some onions, and then we'll have the chili powder, and we'll have some adobo as well. I'm going to add some adobo to it, which adobo has a little bit of everything: onion powder, garlic powder, all of that. And you can get it with pimento. There's like powdered tomato in there. So there's a lot of good stuff in here, but I would always cook with adobo. So let's see how many people we have. Hello. Got a couple people joining us. All right, let's see what time is it. It's 4 minutes after. We'll give it another minute, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. I'll give you time to get all your ingredients together. So we're just waiting for a few more people to join in. As normal, we always tell all the children in the class to make sure that you wash your hands with antibacterial soap, some warm water, as warm as you can get it, and for 20 to 30 seconds, sing the ABC song or sing a happy birthday song. You want to make sure you get all the germs off your hands. All right. So, hello, Facebook friends. I don't have a cameraman, so of course it's going to be a little shaky. But we're gonna work with what we had today. So, again, for you guys that just joined us, we are making sliders today. We're making, excuse me, Sloppy Joe sliders. As I was telling everybody, I remember growing up, when I was younger, my mom made sliders for us, whether it was in the form of hamburger helper, Sloppy Joe sandwiches. Sometimes she'd do Sloppy Joe sandwiches and add actually elbow macaroni to the actual ground beef. And it was good. When we were younger, it was filling. It kept us full. And we had a little sandwich and we're good for the rest of the day. So today, that is what we are going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down and we're going to get started. Going to go ahead also and heat up. Go ahead and put our stove on, I guess medium will be good. And we're going to go ahead and get our ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, whatever you're using. Again, I said we're using ground turkey today, so we're going to go ahead and get that out. The recipe does not call for the onions, but again, I like to make sure that I season up my food really well. And I guess we'll go over that just a little bit too. So, for making sure that you are cutting properly, you have your chop knife. Once again, this is a real knife, children. In our class, usually we have our kid-safe knives. So you're going to hold it just like you're getting ready to ride a bike. And then you're going to act as though there's some glue at the end of that knife. And we're going to put it on our cutting board, right? So there's a couple different techniques. I usually like when I'm chopping up onions, you also want to take the other hand, kind of like a bear claw. And you're going to, almost like you're scratching, you're going to sink it into the, whatever you're cutting right now, it's the onion. So we're putting it into the onion, making sure that the knife does not leave the cutting board. We're not top chefs, so we're not going to do all of this. We're going to practice safe knife techniques. So you're going to put your knife down. You're going to go ahead and do your bear claw. Put it into the onion. Not literally, guys, because I know some of my students will be sticking their nails down into it, but we just want to get it so we can grip it. And you take that thumb, and the thumb goes inside. So it's like this. Kind of like a bear in the cave. So you're going to do that C shape, and we're going to put our thumb right here, which kind of helps to guide it, and you're pushing it towards the knife. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to cut our knife, cut our onions. Usually it helps if your knife is sharp. Most accidents happen in the kitchen when you have a dull knife. So we've chopped up our onions. If you want to get them a little bit smaller, the other technique is you want to make sure your knife is down, holding the knife like you're riding a bike. Put the tip of the knife on the board, and we're going to take the other hand, instead of the C, we're going to make it as flat as we can. Put it on top and chop. All right, so we got our onions, right? Now go ahead and put that into our ramekin. And usually we don't use the knife to drag any of the food off of our cutting board because it dulls the knife. And usually that's one thing chefs have to do is sharpen their knives when they use it. We don't want to sharpen it every time we use it. So you make sure that you don't drag it across the cutting board because it will dull the knife. So usually the cutting boards are always made with a handle, as you see right here, and that's for you to take it, and what you do is take the knife, use the back end of the knife, and then you rake whatever it is you just cut up into whether the frying pan or into your dish. So we've got our onions. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take this over to the stove with our ground beef or ground meat. So work with me, guys. Like I said, I don't have a cameraman. So cameraman, camera lady. All right, so we got our onions. Also, the recipe calls for oil. Calls for vegetable oil. If you have olive oil, you can use olive oil. If you have olive oil, you can use olive oil. Go ahead and open that. Canola oil, whatever fat you have that we can go ahead and get the meat going. I prefer to use I prefer to use a lot more healthier things. So I usually cook with a lot of olive oil. As you see, I have a huge oil collection. So this is our vegetable oil, and we've got some olive oil right here. Then I have basting oil and basil flavored olive oil. But today we're going to use our vegetable oil. All right, so we want to go ahead and put a tablespoon of oil and add that to your skillet pan. I don't want this too high. I'm going to turn it down. Put it up on medium just to get the skillet heated, right? This is a cast iron skillet, so it actually heats, and it heats up really evenly, so you don't have to worry about that. If you turn it up too high, then it'll burn whatever you're cooking. You don't want that to happen. So we've got it heated up. We're going to go ahead and take our ground meat. I'll take it in little pieces. Make sure you're using your hands to handle the meat. Anytime we're working with meat or eggs, what did we say? Does anybody know what we say that meat carries? What kind of foodborne illness does meat carry? Let's see if anybody can guess. So, let's see, anybody? No? I know, I'm looking down. So, you want to be careful for salmonella and E. coli. Salmonella is usually going to be found in like your eggs, usually the yolk, the yellow part of the egg. As far as your meat or poultry is concerned, it's going to be E. coli. That will make you really, really sick, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure you practice good meat handling techniques. Wash your hands after every time you use your hands to handle any kind of raw meat. So we're going to go ahead and wash our hands again. Travel back over to our stove here. You just want to brown the meat. Turn it down just a little. Want to make sure we brown the meat. And then if you're using more of a fattier meat, then you're going to need to drain off some of the excess fat once it renders. Alright, so we let that cook down. I'll add the onions in. I don't want the onions to burn, so I'm not going to add them in too soon. So we'll just wait until it's semi-brown, and then we'll add in the onions. We also want to make sure that we go ahead and get our chili powder. We've got some chili powder here. Alright, chili powder. We got our ketchup. We'll go back and check on our meat. Starting to look yummy. I know it's kind of early for sliders, but this is just in time for lunch. Right, I'm going to go ahead and add our onions. And we're going to let that sit there and brown just a little bit more. So usually it takes about 4 minutes or so to brown, depending on how high you have your heat. So a lot of times when it comes to recipes, I follow them to a T, but then when it comes to seasoning them, I usually add a little more seasoning because I like everything well seasoned. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add in some ground black pepper. Alright, and this is basically called a grinder, kids. You got your whole kernels in there, and we're basically just going to use the grinder which chops it up to make it just a little bit smaller. You don't want those big old pepper corns in there. Just a little bit of black pepper corn. So it's almost ready. I don't like them so chunky, so I always try to chop them up just a little. Smells good. Alright, so what else do you think we need in here, which we usually put on most of our foods? Anybody? So we need some salt. As I told you guys before, I use adobo. It's a Latina kind of seasoning. A lot of Latin households use it a lot, or West Indians. My family's from Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, so we use a lot of Goya products. Adobo is one because it has literally everything in there. It's gonna have your onion powder. It'll have basically everything that will help to salt your food a little without using actual salt. But we'll put a pinch of salt in ours, just a little pinch. Alright, and then we'll put some adobo. And you can get this at Walmart too. Your parents can get it at Walmart. Alright, so we've got our meat is starting to brown fully. Just got a few pieces left in there. And as you see, when it calls for draining it off, you see how that is? It renders a little bit of water there. That's just the fat cooking off. But this is really lean meat, so it's not going to have too much. Now, if you did ground beef, that'll have a little bit more than this. And depending on how lean it is, it may not have as much. But you still need some of that fat in there to make it taste good. So for the turkey, we're not going to drain it off because then it'll make it really, really dry. So let me go ahead and get the rest of our ingredients. We'll just wait for that to finish just a little. Alright, so we need our chili powder. We're going to go ahead and put a little bit of that in. We don't want too much. I mean, if you like spice, then yeah, have at it. But if you don't, then you don't want to add too much chili powder to it because it'll be really spicy. Right, so it now calls for us to add in the ketchup and the brown sugar. So we're going to go ahead and add in the ketchup, which is going to be 3/4 of a cup. We get our measuring tool. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get our ketchup. We need 3/4 of a cup. I've got a 3/4 cup here. Let's see. We're just going to fill that up 3/4 of the way. Good old ketchup. If you don't have ketchup, you can use tomato sauce. You can use actual tomato paste as well, and just kind of take a little bit of water and add it to the tomato paste to kind of water it down just a little, and it'll give you the same consistency as using the ketchup. Only thing, it wouldn't have the sugar, so you may have to add just a tablespoon or two more of sugar. So we've got our ketchup. And we got our brown sugar, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that over to the stove. Oh yeah, this is starting to look really good, guys. And I can see you guys doing this at home by yourself with just a little assistance from mom or dad or grandma. I know the students in my class on Thursdays, they probably would be eating this as they cook it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and turn the stove down just a little bit, because we got it to where we want it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and add our ketchup. I'm going to put this down and go ahead and scrape everything out. Remember, this is my Chef Zee's favorite spatula because it gets everything out, so there's no waste at all in it, right? We don't want to waste anything, so see, it gets everything out. That little D shape helps to scrape everything around the sides. So we got our ketchup in there. And we need 1 tablespoon. So we got 3/4 cup of ketchup. We're going to need 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Alright, so we got our 1 tablespoon. And usually with brown sugar, anytime a recipe calls for brown sugar, it's packed. When it says packed brown sugar, that's the only thing that we pack. They mean for you to put it into whatever the measuring tool is and pack it down, right? Regular sugar, we don't pack it down. Flour, we don't do that. But you want to get it packed. So we got 1 tablespoon of packed brown sugar. Alright, so we also need to add our 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I've got the good stuff, the Bragg's organic raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Go ahead and add a tablespoon of that. Alright, cooking now. Got our apple cider vinegar added. Go ahead and stir that up. Alright, and we just need 1/2 cup of a little bit of water just to get juices going and get everything cooking. Alright, so we're going to take our 1/2 cup spoon, get some water to fill that up. Alright, turn it up just a little so we get that going, and it can be ready soon because this simmers down for just a little bit. Turn it up so that the sauce, juices, all that stuff gets to thicken up a little bit. That's about 8 minutes that we'll do that. Let it thicken up. Hopefully you guys is coming out just as good as this is coming out. So I'm going to let this simmer just a little bit. We're going to put the top in so it'll enclose some of that heat and get it cooking a little bit faster. But do we have anyone that has any questions? Or does anybody remember growing up eating this as a child like I do? And I'm trying to wave and say hello to everybody. Multitask. Yep, I miss all of you guys. Can't wait to see you guys in class so we can cut up. So usually the class would go as smooth as this class, because normally I'm going, sit down, don't do this, don't play around with the knife, stop swinging the knife, it's sharp. Put away your cell phones. So this is a lot smoother than our Thursday class, but I'm loving every bit of it. I get to talk to you guys, and I hope you guys are doing some of these recipes at home with your family, spending lots of quality time, because that's what we should be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and check on our meat to see what's going on with that. So the next thing that we want to add to it is going to be our veggies. And we know we all love veggies. Yeah, Chef Zee likes to add veggies into every aspect of whatever we're cooking. So we're going to add in our corn and our carrots. Today I said that we were actually subbing in some peas and carrots. So I got some peas and carrots right here. You can get the one in the I usually stay away from canned stuff because it has a lot of sodium. So either fresh or usually if it is fresh, you're going to have to cook it down a little bit before you add it to this dish, because then that's going to take a little bit longer. So the best thing is to get it frozen. I got this right at Walmart, frozen in the little bag, and I just poured out some of it and just ran a little bit of warm water on it. We're good to go. So we're going to add our peas and carrots to our dish. Let me go ahead, make sure we got the camera set up right. Oh yeah, this is looking good, guys. Alright, so let me turn it down because I can see it starting to stick a little bit at the bottom. This dish is really quick. It doesn't take that long. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add our peas and carrots. Stir that up. I'm going to cover it up for a couple minutes more. Make sure we get everything incorporated. Guys, this smells really good. I don't know. You can't smell it through the camera, but it smells amazing. And it looks amazing, too. A real quick snack. I really think that all of you guys could do this at home and ace it. Get an A in Chef Zee's book. All right. So let that sit there and just simmer for a little bit. You see that most of the liquid is kind of actually thickened up, which is why we actually put in the ketchup, and then we added just a little bit of water so everything could simmer together. So I'm going to cover that up just a little bit. So let's see, what are we looking like on time? See, we started at 5 minutes after 10. It's only 10:28. So this is pretty simple and easy. Even if you don't want to do it for lunch, you can do it for dinner. Real quick and easy. So we let that cook down for about 8 minutes. We got our sugar. So thus far, just kind of recap. We actually sauteed some onions. We cut up onions, which is not on the recipe, but like again, I like to season my food well. So we got some onions in there. Got our ground turkey, really lean meat. We put in some chili powder. We put some salt. I added a little bit of adobo, which has your garlic and onion powder in there already. We added our light brown sugar, a tablespoon of that. We added 3/4 cup of ketchup. We added some apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of that. And then we went ahead, added a half cup of water, covered it, let it simmer. And then we added our veggies. Again, I said I'm using peas and carrots. You guys can use the carrots, and you can actually use some corn. So whatever your preference, whatever you like, you can use that. So that's what we did today. And so the last step is to get our buns ready, or sliders ready, so we can go ahead and scoop the sloppy joe onto it and have our lunch. So we can go ahead and check back on our sloppy joe. Turn it down a little. Oh man, this looks really good, guys. Alright, so it is all done. So now we just need to get our potato buns, whether you're using potato slider buns or just regular hamburger buns. We are going to go ahead and get those ready and put them on our plate. So hang on just a second, let me get my plate ready. I went ahead, got our buns. Excuse me. So we got our slider bun. Go ahead and prop that up. I think that's pretty good. Gotta cut that off totally. I like to use my ice cream scooper too. Normally I'm catering something, so I'm always trying to portion everything out. So we're gonna go ahead and get a scoop. We're gonna put that on top. Sloppy Joe, so it's nothing neat about this. I'm gonna pile it on. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna garnish it with some more veggies. Got some chopped up cabbage. I use the green cabbage, but it calls for the purple cabbage. So either way, you can sub in whatever veggie you want. I like the cabbage, and then also, me personally, I probably would make some coleslaw. So guys, here you have it. Let's see. Trying to multitask again. So here you have it. We've got our sliders. Let me get that bun down. Voila. This is going to be a good lunch. So, thank you guys for cooking with Chef Zee and coming into my home during this COVID-19 pandemic. We're going to make sure we don't let it keep us down. We're going to do what we need to do. We're going to make sure we eat healthy and have fun. And I will see you guys next Thursday right here, same place, same time at 10 o'clock. And if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead, type them in. We'll make sure we get back to you to answer all your questions. And as always, thank you again for cooking with Chef Zee. I'll see you guys next week.